Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We absolutely believe in the power of innovative entrepreneurship on every level. That's why we are exploring ways to improve our education wing by making it as effective as possible. I, Priyanka, on behalf of Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals, welcome you all to the leading Industry Insights wing to educate and make aware to sorts of business players, entrepreneur, and professionals. Today, Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals is organizing through its Industry Insights wing, the first live webinar on people management by our guest speaker, Mr. Kabir Gaikwad. Here are some house rules for you. Keep your phone in silent mode. Rename yourself with mobile number. Put your queries in the chat box. Keep your notepad and pen ready. Note down all the relevant points for discussion. Also, for your information, a recorded version of webinar will be available on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you. Now, it is time to learn the fundamentals of the Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals. The Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals. Unite together, succeed together. The Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals is a unique, multi-stakeholder organization of visionary industrialists, businessmen, and professionals who share a commitment in shaping the future of industry and society at large. The Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals is a not-for-profit organization. FIIP was established on the 1st of October 2020 with the objective of boosting a small and medium business movement across the country and becoming the voice of India's various business sectors. It serves its members and the whole society through the private and public corporate sectors within the country. FIIP is a lifeline for new startups, small and medium business leaders. It is a crucial platform for networking and collaboration for each stakeholder who is working for the nation-building cause and to build Atmanirbhar Bharat. FIIP is actively engaged in the welfare of business community and general society. It encourages debate and organizes engagement programs with policymakers, Indian private and public corporate sectors, multinational companies, regional chambers of commerce, industrial associations and professional associations in each state of the country. FIIP has created a cluster network of 40,000 plus GST practitioners and made available a platform for networking and consensus building within and across sectors, and is the best platform for Indian industry, policymakers, and the international business community. Vision to facilitate and boost entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial development in the country, to support socio-eco development leaders throughout the nation. To encourage women power in various fields to make Atmanirbhar Nari. Mission, creating a world-class talent body of 5 lakh influential and powerful industrialists, entrepreneurs, businessmen, women, and professionals through FIIP platform within 10 years. DNA, sustainable growth, empowerment, and creation. Purpose, helping business people, supporting economic development. Creating industrial insights, inculcating industrial development, facilitating forums for professionals, solving problems with the right solutions, enhancing skills among business owners, and creating a common platform for building interpersonal relationships. Support for micro, small, and medium enterprises, businesses formulating applied strategies to meet challenges of various industries, making society aware of social, health, and environmental issues. Thank you, everyone. Now, I request our FIIP Director, Mr. C.B. Katrabad, sir, to take over and lead the program ahead.
Thank you, Priyanka. On behalf of FIIP, I once again welcome all of you on this great platform. Industries Insight is an important wing of FIIP, where you are seeing so many other wings also. But Industry Insight wing is bringing you a series of programs, okay, on education for industries, professionals, entrepreneurs, and businessmen. Okay, so in fact, business organization as such is engaged in commercial, industrial, and professional activities to make profit. But organization, business as an organization has got so many systems and processes. Apart from that, there are so many functions as you are seeing on the screen. There is marketing, sales, service, R&D, engineering, etc., etc. So all these systems and processes, one need in-depth and vast knowledge to execute these processes and handle these functions. And that is why Industry Insights brings a series of programs under these categories: financial management and accounting, marketing and sales, service, managerial skills, project management, quality systems and management, of course, business establishing process, that is handholding to the new entrepreneurs or businessmen, and plus government policies and support systems. For your example, if I want to tell, say under this ease category, we have got very many topics. Okay, these are the samples they have put in front of you. For example, marketing, sales, service, there will be a brand management, digital marketing, handling objections, customer retention, so many things. Like managerial skills, okay, one needs to have a leadership skill to run the business, team building and motivation. Luckily, we have got a related topic today, that is okay, you will see next. And delegating skill, analytical skills, on front of government policies and support systems. Of course, what are the government schemes and policies, role of banking in economy of India, role of MSMEs and supports. So many things are there to make all these businessmen, entrepreneurs, and professionals build their capability. Okay, so these are the few examples. Today, we are lucky to have first topic on people management. Okay, and we have got our guest speaker, Mr. Kabir Gaikwad. I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Kabir Gaikwad. He has got more than 20 years, 21 years of experience. Okay, rich experience in academics and corporate world. Okay, he has done his MBA and prior in HR, and prior to that, he has completed his B in production. Okay, he is a graduate engineer in production. He is a certified as a Gallup strength coach as well. Okay, he is at present he is heading corporate HR division at Atlas Copco and taking care of India and Bangladesh. Okay, his professional career has gone like this. He has worked as HR manager at Atlas Copco and Compressor Technique Customer Center India, executive manager at Tata Cummins and Limited, deputy manager at Suzlon Energy Limited, one of the leading energy producing company. He worked at reputed institutions under Pune University and Shivaji University as well. So apart from corporate world, he has contributed in his education institutions as well. He also worked at this Pune University and these institutions, reputed institutions under Pune University and Kolhapur University as well. So he is a life member of Indian Society of Technical Education, in fact. So he has contributed significantly in attracting, managing, developing, and retaining the employee needed in order to achieve the goals of existing business as well as future planned business as well. So he always performed to achieve proficiency in finding and nurturing great talent to create talent brand for sustainable, profitable, growth-oriented organization. So I now request Mr. Kabir Gaikwad to lead us through his experiential learning to update us in the field of people management, which is always a challenge area to every business organization, entrepreneurs and professionals. So over to you, Gaikwad sir. Thank you.
First of all, thank you, sir. And it's an absolute pleasure and privilege for me to come through and then attend this. And at the beginning only, I would like to mention my sincere thanks to my mentor, my guru, Professor Mohite. I think he has played a vital role for my development right from my education days, and even today as well. As and when I am in need of, I always reach out to him, and he has been kind enough to always guide me. So thank you, sir, for giving me an opportunity to be here, and it's an honor to share this an important dais. So without having further delay, I would like to rather go and talk about the people management. But before that, I would like to know if any other expectation is there from the, I would say, target group here. If any one of you like to sort of put it up, what exactly you expect out of the session.
So just I'll intervene. Friends, if you have got any specific requirement only, you can put in your chat box. Okay, whatever any requirement, we'll read through and communicate to our speaker. And regarding people management, of course, the topic today is people management, and I request all to interact. Of course, we will have a question answer session after this completion of the topic. You can raise your questions related to this. Even for other topics, if you feel so, you can mention in the chat box, as well as you can raise hand when we have a question answer session. Thank you, sir. You can continue.
Okay. So first and foremost, let me just know if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. It is a Zoom scheme.
I hope now you can see my presentation.
Yeah.
Great.
Kindly put yes in your chat box if you're all seeing the screen.
Yes, sir. Screen dikh raha hai.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hope that the entire presentation I'd like to, as much as in English, but somewhere wherever required, I might switch into Marathi and English, Marathi and Hindi as and when required. But mostly it will be in English.
कबीर जी, हम लोग स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ा सा अपील करेंगे हमारे ऑडियंस को, उनके जो भी क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे तो चैट बॉक्स में लिखेंगे तो ज्यादा बेटर रहेगा. आफ्टर द सेशन हम लोग इंटरेक्टिव मोड में क्वेश्चन आंसर्स लेंगे.
Sure. The only thing, like, I am unable to see the question answer, so maybe one of you need to help me out while the question answers will be there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So shall I start now?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay, thanks. So if you see the Jim Collins, who has written the book Good to Great, he says that people are not your most valuable assets, but the right people are. And I think that is where is the entire world is fighting today, to identify the right people. Because if you see today, the attrition rate of software companies or even the manufacturing companies is really high. It is up to 27%, 29%. Even some of the manufacturing companies, attrition rate is around 10% to 12%, which was never been the case in the past. So after the pandemic, this era, we call it as the Great Resignation era, meaning people are getting an opportunities and they are not hesitating to leave the companies and join the new company. And that is the reason why, if you see the real competitive advantage, what is going to be there, whether it's a small company, whether it's a medium company, or it's a big company, is going to be the people. I think if you look at the 100 years back or 50 years back, the financial capital was far more important. And somewhere somebody used to think about starting a business. But I think today the human capital is as much important as a financial capital. So that is why it's important, like, you have the good strategy, you have a good structure, you have a good system, but if you don't have right staff, then you're still gonna struggle. That's the reason why we need to have right people, those who can help us to convert those ideas and those dreams into action. Okay. So the predictive index is the one institute who does help us to have the psychometric analysis. The David Cantle, the person is saying is that all business problems are people problems, meaning whichever problem you think you are facing, it could be about the patent, about the product, about the customer service, about the HR field. I think this is all just because somebody at that point in time could not do his or her work properly. So that's the reason why all business problems are actually people problems. Meaning, if we want to deal with the business problems or strategic problems, you need to work on to people capability. That is why the human capital has got so much importance in today's time. And there's one video I would like to just run through.
COVID-19 proved that organizations and workers are capable of tremendous resilience under pressure. They can adapt. They can pivot. They can survive. But in a world of constant disruption, survival is not enough. It's time for organizations to shift their focus from point-in-time responses to solutions that are dynamic and evolving, from planning and solving for what is known to thriving in a future that is unknown. How? It starts by becoming and remaining distinctly human. Now more than ever, it is about embracing 3 attributes to humanize work and create lasting value for workers, organizations, and society at large. Purpose, potential, and perspective. Purpose is the North Star in a world disrupted. This common set of values doesn't depend on circumstances, so it allows organizations to sift through competing priorities, unite workers under common goals, drive belonging and well-being, and focus energy and resources on the most pressing needs. Potential demands that organizations look more dynamically at and capitalize on what their people are capable of, to look beyond static role descriptions, to get the right people in the right place at the right time, regardless of where they sit on an org chart or what organization they are part of. By trusting workers to bring creativity and initiative to their jobs, workers can prepare themselves for a longer career life, and organizations can realize a new level of productivity in an environment of continued disruption. Perspective challenges organizations to act boldly in the face of uncertainty, to focus on outcomes instead of outputs, to re-architect work around human strengths and capabilities aligned with the way humans think and engage, and designed to embed the behaviors that will advance organizations into the new world of work. By re-architecting work, organizations can use disruption as a launching pad to imagine new possibilities and opportunities. The past year has been challenging, and the lessons we've learned have been hard-won. But these lessons in purpose, potential, and perspective can help us leapfrog to a new world, a world where we're not simply surviving, but thriving.
So the video which I have just now shown was from the Mercer. It's one of the big consulting firm. You must be knowing about it. And if I may want to look back about the 3 things what is talked about is the purpose, the potential, and the perspective. Now the purpose is what I think I'd like to give the example what Simon Sinek has given. I don't know how many of you know, but Simon Sinek is one of the good business thinker and I would say leader, and he keep giving many his ideas and sharing those ideas to make this world better. He has given an example. Jab aeroplane, I know that most of you are knowing about John Wright brothers were those who actually searched or prepared the first aircraft. लेकिन उसी वक्त राइट बंधु के अलावा और भी एक था जिसको वर्ल्ड बैंक ने सपोर्ट किया था, and he had all the best team in the world, intellectual team in the world, whereas राइट बंधु के पास इतना ज्यादा पैसा भी नहीं था और इतने लोग भी नहीं थे. Despite that, Wright brothers were the first one who actually prepared the aircraft or the aeroplane. And the reason is very simple. क्योंकि उनके पास जज्बा था, they had a people, those who would work for the blood, for the tears, for the sweat. The same history you can see, I think Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj also built his state with the help of few Maharajs. So if you have a committed people with you, you can rebuild the organization. That is the message what I wanted to give it. So that's about the purpose. When you say potential, it's pretty important to have the right potential people into your team. And if you see the one of the survey which was done by the Productive Index here, they asked the question, what are your biggest challenges you are facing? And they had many, I would say, options like finding the right talent, building better operational processes, aligning my employees with our strategy, getting the most out of all my people, creating great work environment, building solid business strategy. So I will not read through the slide, but if you see the top 3 challenges, what every CEO failed were the finding the right talent, building better operational processes, aligning with my employees with our strategy. So out of top 3, the 2 are with respect to people, meaning it is pretty important like you have right people on board, and it's equally important like you have an alignment of those people's mindset with the organization's requirement. That is why we say there are 3 things required: mindset, skill set, and tool set. Now, what do you mean by mindset? I mean, you need to have people, what you believe in, they as well believe in. And that's where the purpose makes a big difference. When I say skill set, I think you need to make people train upon the competencies of the job requirement, what you want to have it. And third is about tool set, meaning you need to equip them with the necessary tools and technologies to perform their job. But having said that, the most important challenge what CEO is facing today is about finding the right talent and is about aligning the employees with the strategy. Now, as I mentioned, the types of capitals, the financial capital, human capital, and natural capital. But out of this, I think gone are the days wherein someone had to stay in a queue and a line in order to get a loan. I think nowadays, any one of us, we can receive the 10 or 15 calls in a day. Do you need any loan or what? But the human capital point of view, if you see, the right talent is not staying in one company. They are moving. They are portable. The talent and rewards are portable. They are moving into a good ecosystem wherever they feel like they can get an opportunity to improve, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to contribute. The talent is moving from one company to another company. Gone are the days whereby someone would join in one company and would get retired in the same company. In fact, today the product life cycle has got reduced. Likewise, the employee life cycle also has got reduced. I mean, people do not stay more than 3 years to 5 years in one company unless they find a purpose to stay back. And if we don't have right people, those are trained people, then the companies will struggle in order to achieve their objectives. If you look at the career paradigms, how those are getting changed. There were days, I mean, for example, someone would work for the job security, the longitudinal career path. We would look at the job person fit. We wanted people to have the organizational loyalty, career success, academic degree, position, title. Now, if you look at the new paradigms, people have moved from job security to employability security, meaning no individual is awaiting for the 10, 15 years completion. They are aware, or they are more concerned about, do they get opportunity to improve further or not? That is where they are they employable or not? I mean, they are looking for the alternate career paths, meaning someone joins in the HR, but eventually if they feel like they can do something in a finance and they do have ability, they move into finance or they move into supply chain. So gone are days whereby an employee will stick to the same career path for a lifetime. Now, we are more concerned about the person organization fit and the job loyalty than the organizational loyalty. People do talk about now the work and life balance. That is why you can see now the activity-based working or flexible working or flexi schedule or work from home and stuff like that. This all new stream has come up. The academic degree, from there, the shift has happened to continuous learning, unlearning, and relearning. People are more concerned about what kind of competencies and development they get. So these are the couple of new paradigms those have happened. And we, as an employer or as an, I would say, in a CXO level position, you must be aware about all these new paradigms so that accordingly you can structure your design, accordingly you can strategize, and you can take the control of the organization. So in industrial economy, and today's economy is a knowledge economy. In industrial economy, the focus was on cost. In knowledge economy, focus is on the ROI. We were earlier local, now we are global. The training programs were one size fits for all. Now they are hyper customized programs. Earlier, the industrial economy was isolated. Now it's a virtual learning community. Earlier, maybe 4-year degree. Now I think continuous learning. That's why we mentioned there the 40-year degree. So I just like to give one example. The P&G, the Procter & Gamble, the PepsiCo, Microsoft, and Google. And this is from the Talent Overrated, this is from Job Colin. So this data must be around 2016, 4 or 5 years back. So P&G, they invested financial capital about $83 billion, whereas they could generate the wealth, which is around $126 billion. If you look at PepsiCo, they invested $34 billion and they could generate the wealth around $73 billion. Microsoft invested $30 billion and they could generate the wealth around $221 billion. And Google, they invested $5 billion and they could generate the wealth around $126. Now, why am I insisting on this is that Google and Microsoft, I would say comparatively, they did invest less capital, but they could generate more wealth because the business model is such that the real value what they add is the outcome of the ideas and software or the services produced by the employees. And that is why in the knowledge economy, one element which is far, far more critical as a resource is an employee, is the human capital. And that is why you have to be very much aware about how do you hire, how do you retain, and how do you develop that particular person. And there, I think there is no one size fit for all. Maybe being a small scale company or medium scale company, often entrepreneurs will come and say like, we do not have enough resources, I would say financial capital to manage them, because then they'll flee to the big organizations and we may not have people, those who can continuously work for us, but I'll come back to that. I think important is that what is the shelf value of that employee and how do you keep that employee motivated? Now, moving on further, if I talk about employee experience, I think that is going to be next big differentiator. I mean, when I break it down into purpose and growth journey, they seek value in both. It's not just what they do, but they also want to have good treatment. So command and control is no more the way of working. Now we want to have the coach and collaborate kind of working. It's not top down always, but it's going to be a bottom up also and zigzag as well. So for that matter, like, if I say R&D, and most of the medium scale industries, or I would say large scale industries, they would often talk about R&D means research and development, but R&D means respect and dignity also. Meaning all stakeholders, whoever in your ecosystem, whether they are your employee, whether they are vendors, whether they are your customers, whether they are, I would say, those third-party workers, you should have a very, very respectful and dignified treatment to all of them. Because that is what is far more important in today's world. Everybody would like to get treated well. And that is why the R&D doesn't mean only the research and development, but also the respect and dignity. When I say AI, the AI doesn't mean only the artificial intelligence, but AI means the appreciative inquiry as well. Meaning an employee would like to get maybe an appreciative inquiry by the manager. It's like they would like to know the empathy, the trust, the power, I would say the belief, the compassion. So there are things also equally important as of like the artificial intelligence. So if I talk about A, B, C, D, we talk about A means artificial intelligence, but A means attitude also. When you say B means big data, I think B means behavior as well. When you say C means cloud computing, the C means competency as well. And when you say digitalization, D, the D means discipline as well. So while we are trying to match or I would say trying to map the today's world or keeping pace with today's requirement, we should not compromise on the basic being human and those values. And that is why I think it is important, like we all, regardless of the management or worker, should reflect the right attitude, should be aligned and demonstrate right behavior, should have the right competencies to deliver and make the difference. And we all should have discipline in the things what we do. Now, if you talk about the economic portfolio and emotional portfolio, I think being entrepreneur, you all must be always concerned about the revenue, the profit, the earning per share. But I think unless you take care of the emotional portfolio of the all stakeholders, which involves the trust, the compassion, autonomy, the economic portfolio requirements may not get accepted or even that achieved. So it's important to have the trust, the compassion, autonomy at all levels, wherein people should feel homely, they should feel the family culture, they should feel the values are so compelling, like they do not want to leave the company. So we have to look at the three things. What people do means it's all about their roles and responsibilities. What people display means that it is about competencies. What people deliver means it's about performance goals. Now, typically, all of us, we do have some mission, some vision as a company. We want to achieve that mission through some actions taken up by the employees. And that is where the roles and responsibilities, competencies, and performance goals has tremendous importance in terms of achieving what we desire for. So we have to have a shift from potential to performance, meaning whatever potential for what we have hired to an employee, that potential should get converted into performance. From being, we must convert into doing. From raw, we must deal to the mature. And the talent, which is natural talent, should become a strength. Now, if I look at from HR perspective, how can we make it happen? So this is the Accenture slide, what I have taken up. So I think most of the entrepreneurs at medium scale level, or I would say even the big multinational companies as well, they invest a lot of time on making the business strategy. I'm not sure, do they give as much time on the talent strategy as well? And that is why the business strategy and talent strategy need to be integrated. And that is where the integrated talent management capabilities, we need to understand like how exactly we are going to achieve the strategy. So strategy can be just a hallucination or just a dream unless somebody act in that direction. And that is why the one who going to act in the direction is called as a talent. And that is the reason why we need to think about the 4 different points. How do you define the talent need? How do you discover your talent? How do you develop your talent? And how do you deploy your talent? Now we'll go definitely one by one. But how do you define talent meaning? For example, if the organization is a startup, if organization is into a realignment phase, if organization is already achieved success, or if organization is facing certain problems, based on that, the kind of talent what you are going to need is going to get different. Say, for example, if you are a startup, you would need someone who has entrepreneurial spirit, who can go beyond the call of duty, who can make things happen. And that is where, or you suppose you are already having certain success, then we need people, those who can maintain that success or enhance that success further. So define your talent need means what kind of employees you are in need of. Are they going to be in technical wing or in techno-commercial role or in the managerial role or in say which domain you are going to need and what talent you are going to need and what level you're going to need. So that we need to define first. When we say discover your source of talent, meaning today maybe you can just go on Google, on the Naukri or LinkedIn portal and you can find a source of talent. But what are different sources from where you can actually get the talent? Maybe the fresh talent from the out of the colleges, engineering colleges, management colleges. How can you then make compelling employer branding? How can you give them the reason why they should join you? Then once they join in, how do you ensure that their development? Meaning, what do you want them to do as against where they stand today? That plan. And most importantly, how do you deploy them? Meaning your talent at the right place at the right time. I think you must have seen the wars are also owned based on the talent where it is deployed. If you deployed it at the wrong place, it is not going to help you. but if you deploy at the right place, it is going to work for you. So let's look at how do you define, for example, assess the whole person. Most of the time, we only look at while taking an interview, we only look at the briefcase. Now, what I mean by briefcase, anybody would come by having briefcase or a bag in hand and will have a resume. And resume usually has education, knowledge, skill, and experience. 90% of the questions which you ask only about what you did or what you can do, but we hardly try to know about as a person, what are the values of person, where the person's passion lies, where the person's interest lies, what are the beliefs of the people, or we do not scientifically try and understand what are the behavioral drives or cognitive abilities of the person. And that is where, as a multinational company, we often rely on the scientifically, technically proven tool. Is it like Productive Index, or it is like a CEB-SHL, wherein we assess talent from a multidimensional perspective. We are not just going ahead with the, I would say, subjective or analysis of the interviewer's assessment. We go with the objective criteria, wherein we also offer an employee, a prospective employee, one psychometric test, which helps us to identify the right talent. Now, if I talk about the Adam Grant, what did he say is like, do not hire for talent, knowledge, or skill, hire for innovation and ability to learn. So gone are days whereby we were only hiring for talent or knowledge. I think we should hire for the ability to learn also. And as I mentioned, we do use certain tools like Productive Index, SHL, and stuff like that. Moving on, for example, it is always a constant, I would say, competition what small scale companies or medium scale companies will always have to fight with is like, how do we make our brand compelling one? So from a company perspective, I look at the hiring challenges are there, their high turnover rates are there, and you want to position yourself as an attractive employer. Now look at the compensation. Now compensation, when we say this is the bottom of the pyramid, the compensation and benefit, these are the contractual things which helps employees to stay back. It can be competitive, but the real differentiator is the experiential thing, meaning do they feel well treated in a company, and do they see the right career opportunities within the company? And the one unique differentiator is going to be emotional, meaning the purpose. If they believe in what you believe in, they will not go back from your company. So as an employer, I think as an entrepreneur, you need to choose the people, those who believe in what you believe in. You need to give them the reason to feel like there can be career growth. And I think as a medium scale company, you often have a better chances to offer career pathing, because the organization as well as an employee, both of them are a career, I would say, in expansion or growth mode. That becomes important. So that's the reason why not only contractual, wherein you talk about how much do you pay, but also experiential and emotional things are also differentiator, and one need to be mindful about the emotional as well as the experiential aspects, which are going to be extended by us as an employer. Now, moving on, if I look from an HR point of view, what different things can be thought through? Like organization design, the recruitment selection, when I say the fitment and hiring, the learning and development capability, performance management, the employee cost management, budget, HR efficiency, digitalization, improving operating efficiency, employee engagement, HR as a partner to business, and comp and benefit. So this can be a possible themes. Those are there by and large run by most of the companies as HR strategy. Now I'll just quickly run through it. While we say organizational design, what does that mean? Now most of the companies, this design or organizational chart is unclear or unstable. And that is the reason why we need to clarify on operating model, the role, the goals, the interface, the responsibility and authority. And that is where we have to bring in the job descriptions, right? So that there's no overlap or a gap between the two employees in the same organization. When I say the fitment or recruitment, we need not to hire only for a current need, but we need to hire for the future as well. And that is where competency-based recruitment, improving the quality of interviewer. I'm not sure how many interviewers they get trained on how to conduct interview, but we need to train them how to conduct interview so that they can assess and choose the right talent. In terms of learning and development capability building, I think it's not only the on-job training, what most of the time employee anyway gets, but then what is it that you need to offer beyond that on-job training so that their mindset and skill set is perfectly getting aligned with the organization requirement. Then obviously performance management. People will always want to have a renewed sense of purpose in the organization. So that is why they would like to know how they are treated, how they are calibrated. And that is the reason why we need to have very, very objective criteria of measuring performance. It is not going to be biased, but unbiased way of performance management system we need to have, wherein how often do you give feedback to people? Do you focus on strength or do you focus on weaknesses? That's what we need to be very mindful about. If you focus on the weaknesses, people will feel depleted, whereas if you feel on strength, they will feel rejuvenated. So you can anyway manage weakness, but important is that how do you train them? How do you motivate them? How do you align them? If I look at the employee cost management point of view, you need to look at, is there any duplication, inefficiency, and you need to look at the synergies and effectiveness. And obviously the digitalization and employee engagement. I think employee engagement, for example, in our company, every 2 years we run through the employee engagement survey, which we get it done from third party, and we run it through worldwide. And there are 4 major areas having 20 questions asked. The areas are engagement, culture, their career, and leader. So that those 20 questions are arranged in such a way that if anyone has any pain area, then they can mention that. And then we go back with the results openly to the all employees, and we ask them what is it they feel that need to be done by the company so that it can be improved. And we make insight action plan collectively. On top of that, we also have something called as skip level meeting at regular interval, wherein we try to get the pulse of the situation. So these are a couple of things I would say in employee engagement. Most of the time, employee engagement is being mistaken by discretionary effort. Is like celebrating birthdays or cutting the cake. It's not something that's just employee engagement. I think employee engagement is much, much more wider and bigger term, wherein I would recommend definitely a better place to work. There are different levers. We need to understand, do we really offer proactively what does employee want? So if I may talk about the imperatives that are there, one is like challenges are strategic and need a strategic response to it. We cannot have a response which is very, very tactical or a stationary response. The measurement and insight to drive actions and behavior, we need to have measurement, because what get measured only get managed. So we need to have those KPIs defined for even people management. Aligning culture and values, operating models, talent management, leadership. So most of the time, as an entrepreneur, we only focus on the operating models. We may not focus upon the talent management, leadership. So it's important to have the alignment of culture, the values, operating model, talent management, and leadership. Make leaders and line managers really accountable. I think it's not only the job of HR, but it's a job of leader and line managers as well, wherein they need to be accountable. And apply robust value and outcome measures to understand the progress. So these are a couple of imperatives or summaries. And last but not least, the factor I would like to talk about is the culture. Now, the culture, the thing is that the thing I have learned at IBM is that culture is everything. Culture eats its strategy for breakfast. The only thing of real importance that leaders do is create and manage culture. If you do not manage culture, it manages you. And you may not even be aware of the extent to which this is happening. Now, if you look at the sentence which is written there, culture eats strategy for breakfast, and you try and know now, it's like most often than not, leaders invest a lot of time on the strategy, or managers invest a lot of time on the strategy, but as much time they may not give on the culture. And that's the reason why when you say culture, again, the 2 parts are there. One is aspirational zone, desire culture, the way we want to be. I mean, my company would like to be a really employee friendly or customer centric, performance oriented, but that is aspirational zone. And declared culture, the way we say we are, maybe that is delusional zone, meaning I say, okay, my culture is this, but actual culture, the way we really are. That's why our actual culture and aspirational culture, they should be almost near close one. So that means, I think as much effort we put in the business strategy, we shall give the equal importance to preparing, developing culture also. So these are the couple of slides I wanted to share with. Maybe if anything I would like to, any questions that are there, and I would definitely like to answer those.
So thank you so much, Kabir sir. It was a very informative session on the concepts and the values of employees, the company view, the employee perspective, and all these things. I think definitely would help our people, professionals and entrepreneurs to understand, to strengthen their manpower and people. So thank you so much, sir. Friends, if you have got any queries, you can put a question in the chat box or raise hand to ask your questions so that we can spend another 5-10 minutes on your queries. Okay, very good. Nilesh Shah is telling very excellently explained. Okay, good feedback. Mr. Popat Rao, very excellent inputs. Good, thank you. So thanks to Kabir sir, in fact, for this excellent explanation. So anybody have queries, or you can just raise hand or you can put your questions in the chat box, please. So, okay, there is one question. What should be the right strategy for a very small organization where the scale of for employees nearly 7 to 12,000?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think if you look at the paradox in today in India, there are almost 27% employees only are a good job, and the rest of the people are waiting for the right job. And at the same time, we have get attrition also. So my point would be like, if you look at the 4 Ds, from where do I source talent is important. Now, for that matter, I have seen today, most of the engineering colleges are waiting for fulfilling their seats also. They do not get enough seats as well. I'm just giving an example.
Yes.
And the engineers, those get passed out from those institutions, not all of them, they go to get a good job. I think for me, it is pretty important, like you hire for the talent, though the person may not have all the skills those are required to be there, but you hire that person. And that is why to get this kind of right people, you need to go beyond traditional channels. You need to reach out to the all small, I would say, tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities engineering colleges, and you need to reach out to them, find out the right talent there by giving compelling reason. I would say the small scale company, though it is small scale company, how it has potential to become a big company, that how the journey of the company has been for last 3 to 4 years. That entire historical perspective need to be offered to people so that the person feel excited to join. And then I think for any company for that matter, I believe the input, the process, the output is far more important. Now, the input, the process and the output in this, even though you have a substantial input, your process should be such a strong process so that you get a good output. So my recommendation would be make your learning, on-job training, the communication skill training, problem-solving scaling, all these things, I think you need to make it so stringent that people learn out of that. So I think Mr. Rajesh is wanting to share his experience. So you please share your experience as well in top of this, on top of this, whatever you want to add into.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I hope, Nilesh, you got an answer for your question. I think very nicely explained. There are so many solutions, there are so many ways. So Mr. Kabir has nicely, succinctly has put, in fact, so with so many things. So before I go to next question, I think Mr. Prasad Savale has raised his hand. I think I request Prasad to put your question. He has raised your hand.
Thank you, Kadrabad sir. Kabir sir, your session was very nice. I have a couple of questions in context with your session. In big organization, there are, I believe that there are a separate department called HR department is there. But when we are talking about the small organizations, so wherein there is no exclusive HR department, or it is not yet in the structured format. So in that way, what is the role of that entrepreneur, or how he should conduct the training programs? This is the first question. Second, can you put some thoughts on the digital tools wherein we can get connected through the to the employees and conduct the training programs, maybe in the digital format, because nowadays COVID has taught us such a great lesson, and remotely also we can get connected with our employees, and we can have some training sessions. So can you please put some light onto this?
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. So again, if I'll give answer of the second half question first. I think the Microsoft Teams is the tool what we have been using in our company, and it has been fantastically easy to reach out to people and connect with them any point in time. But if I talk about the learning platforms, those are available in order to have the simple other things. I would say LinkedIn Learning is the one which we have a tie-up with, and I think that has a good returns because there are almost 16,000 different learning models are available. And if you, I think per person investment would be around 5,000 rupees per year, probably, if I'm not wrong. I need to check because we go for many people, so we get a leverage of that. But I think you can check about that. If you want to have a technical learning programs, I think there is one site called as Vector Solutions. I think you can definitely look into those kind of solutions as well, which helps employees to raise their technical abilities. And by considering the small scale industry, I would recommend, for example, you do not have a specific HR per se who can do all these tasks, but I'm sure as an entrepreneur, you already have done that task as a human professional as well. And there I would request you to look into the aspects of, like, for that matter, what all different possibilities can happen when you say recruitment. Now, what are the less costly yet effective channels? For that matter, for a big companies, we have campus recruitment. Then can you be thinking about that? Meaning you can reach out to all training and placement officers of the big colleges, small colleges, or tier 2 colleges, and you can give your information, and they can give you the day on which you can go. You can decide maybe technical test, or I would say the interview questions, and you can choose those people there. It is about recruitment. About training, I would say you are the best judge. Like what kind of talent needs are there, and how do you want to develop them? But in our case, in our company, big companies, we have something called as time to competence, wherein the onboarding, or I would say you can call it induction program, is far more important. Usually in small companies, what happens is, like, you hire a person yesterday, you ask the person to start from today, and then the person learn by experience on the job. That's the crude way of getting something done. I would say even if small company, you can still decide a basic 3 days of course, wherein you give an overview about what jobs you are going to have, what kind of mindset you are going to in need of, and you I would say entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur or as a manager, you yourself can conduct 1 or 2 days of session. And I would say that's the investment, that's not waste, because then that helps people to gain confidence, and that helps people to be more productive than otherwise they learn on their own. Right? So I hope I answered the question. It's about learning link, the vector solutions, and I would say you can also tap on the knowledge which is earned by your top management people. You can ask them to deliver sessions through the platforms like Zoom or even the Microsoft Teams, so that employees may not require to keep coming to the office time and again for a training purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Sandeep Gire. So he is asking, for startup business, what is the strategy of hiring people? I think by and large you have answered partly in this.
Yeah. So जैसे मैंने बोला कि अगर आपका startup है, I think someone is asking me to say in Hindi also.
Yeah.
तो जैसे मैंने बोला कि कोई भी यात्रा शुरू संदेह से होती है, लेकिन खत्म विश्वास पे होनी चाहिए. So अगर मैं पूछूंगा, मैं किसी भी कॉलेज में जाता हूँ इंटरव्यू के लिए, या फिर मेरा ऐड रखता हूँ जॉब पोर्टल पे, तो बड़ा कंपनी इसलिए लोग आते हैं, एक बात हो गई. मगर बहुत सारी स्टार्टअप कंपनीज है जिसमें अभी आजकल लोग, मतलब अगर मैं बोलूं, जो MBA में ट्रेंड है या फिर IIT में भी ट्रेंड है, IIM में ट्रेंड है, कि लोग चाहते हैं कि नए कंपनी ज्वाइन करें. तो इससे 2 फायदे होते हैं. एक, कि नए कंपनी में प्रोसेसेस एस्टेब्लिश नहीं होती है, इसलिए लोगों को काम करने के लिए ज्यादा वक्त मिलता है. दे गेट मोर अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू लर्न. हालांकि बड़े कंपनियों में सिस्टम सेट होता है, प्रोसेस सेट होता है, इसलिए बहुत ज्यादा लोगों को काम नहीं होता, दे बिकम स्पेशलाइज. यहाँ पे जनरलाइज होते हैं लोग. तो अगर तुम देखोगे कंपनी के नंबर 1 पोजीशन को हमेशा हम कहते हैं कि जनरल मैनेजर. तो जनरल मैनेजर का मतलब क्या है? उसको सब पता है, HR पता है, फाइनेंस पता है, मार्केटिंग पता है, ऑपरेशन पता है. तो अगर कोई स्टार्टअप ज्वाइन करता है तो उसको वो फायदा मिलता है कि वो सारी चीजें सीख सकता है. तो स्टार्टअप होने के बावजूद भी अगर तुम ये पॉइंट पे सेल करोगे कि तुम अगर मेरे कंपनी में ज्वाइन करोगे तो तुम्हें सीखने को मिलेगा. इसलिए देयर इज वन सेइंग, एट द स्टार्ट ऑफ करियर व्हाट यू लर्न इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन व्हाट यू अर्न. और इसमें विश्वास रखने वाले बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं. मैं अपनी कंपनी एग्जांपल लेता हूँ कि अगर हम एटलस सबको है, फिर भी अगर हम IIM में गए या फिर IIT में गए तो शायद हमें इतना रिस्पांस नहीं मिलता, क्योंकि वो सारा रिस्पांस कंसल्टिंग फर्म्स को या फिर IT इंडस्ट्री को जाता है. मगर फिर भी वहाँ बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं जो काम करना चाहते हैं एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी एरिया में या फिर इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी में, एंड दे वेट फॉर द कंपनी लाइक अस. तो व्हाट आई मीन इज कि हमें वो लोग ढूंढने हैं जिनका विश्वास, जिनका भरोसा हमारे थिंकिंग की तरह है. उसके लिए थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, लेकिन वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड आइडेंटिफाई पीपल दोज हु बिलीव इन व्हाट यू बिलीव इन. तो मेरे हिसाब से स्टार्टअप के लिए और दूसरी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है कि आप उसको कैसे ट्रीट करते हो, द रिस्पेक्ट एंड डिग्निटी. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि हम चाहते हैं कि गाय हो जिसको सिंग ना हो, वो दूध बहुत ज्यादा दे और ये घास भी कम खाए. ऐसा नहीं होता है. आई थिंक वी नीड टू बी समवेयर लिटिल मोर प्रैक्टिकल. वी नीड टू बी एटलीस्ट ट्रीटिंग पीपल वेल. When I say treating people well, you need to understand like mistakes increases experience and experience decreases mistakes. तो स्टार्टअप में भी लोगों को ऐसा लगना चाहिए कि मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा, जहां जहां मुझे जरूरत पड़ी वहां मुझे साथ मिला. ऐसा किसी ने बोला है कि उम्र जाया कर देते हैं लोग औरों के वजूद में नुक्स निकालते. अगर उतना ही वक्त खुद को तराशने में दिया होता तो खुदा बन जाते. So that is why as a manager, not always you need to find what is wrong. You can identify what is wrong, right also, and give the pat on the back so that person feel excited and take that further.
Good. Great. Thank you, sir. Anybody else has any questions?
Sir, if you don't mind, can I share my experience?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
please.
Yes, yeah. Please go ahead. In short, please.
Sir, meeting with you, खून पसीने की शाही जब कागज पे छपती है ना, तब जाके कंपनी बनती है. और वो कंपनी चलाने के लिए एट द राइट टाइम फॉर द राइट पोजीशन राइट पर्सन लगता है. Whatever the session delivered by sir, it is absolutely true. Since from last 10 years, I'm working as an HR. So I used to face every concern whatever sir has delivered. Like sometimes what happen in an industry, there is a current scenario, sir. You can see engineers, they are selling products in education sector, in insurance and other things. तो राइट पोजीशन के लिए, राइट टाइम के लिए अगर राइट पीपल को चॉइस करोगे आप, तो ही कोई भी स्टार्टअप अच्छे तरह से चलेगा. एंड वन मोर इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग कि बफर में किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास होना चाहिए. ठीक है, मैंने अभी कुछ रिक्रूटमेंट किया है सपोज से फॉर सर्टेन पोजीशंस, तो लेकिन बफर में मेरे पास सेम डेटा भी चाहिए. अगर अनसर्टेनिटी में या फिर किसी कंसर्न सिनारियो में कोई एम्प्लॉय छोड़ के जाता है तो उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को सफर होना पड़ता है. और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है आफ्टर रिक्रूटमेंट इम्पैक्ट ऑफ इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस एम्प्लॉइज का, वो कैलकुलेट करना पड़ता है. एज बीइंग HR, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. उसका एफिशिएंसी कहीं पे लो हो रहा है तो क्यों हो रहा है वो फाइंड आउट करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. आफ्टर कैलकुलेटिंग वर्क एफिशिएंसी, किसी भी स्टार्टअप का या फिर किसी कंपनी का प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ता है. प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ा, अल्टीमेटली सेल्स बढ़ता है. तो मुझे सिर्फ ये 2-3 चीज सर शेयर करना है एज बीइंग HR.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks for point.
Thank you, Rajesh ji. I think no more questions here. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Kabir sir. Once again, now I would like to hand over this session to our founder director, Mr. Navinath Devkar ji, so that please take over and have a concluding session. with your few insights on this platform. Thank you.
सिबिका सर थैंक यू। आगे जाने से पहले प्रसाद जी साळवे सर ने हैंड रेज किया है, तो हम लोग उनके पास जाते हैं। प्रसाद जी प्लीज अनम्यूट कीजिए और क्या क्वेश्चन है पूछिए प्लीज।
Thank you, sir. So basically, what happens is normally it is when it comes for the people development or training, company thinks that as an expense. It does not think it as an investment onto the into the employee. So many cases we find that this hurdle is always there between the management and the respective department. So how it should be communicated and convinced that training is an investment. It is not an expense, because direct benefit you cannot see it immediately. So how we should project it to the management that this is an investment.
Great. Which industry you work for now?
I work for the automotive industry.
Okay. So I'll tell you, frankly, I wouldn't say I am lucky to working in a company wherein learning culture is something is very, very prevalent in our company. And the very reason why is like there's one saying, what if I train and person leaves? But what if I don't train and person stays back with me? Right? Sometimes people are worried, like if I train person and if after training person leaves the company, but they don't think like what if person stays back but I don't train, meaning I am getting subside performance. And that is why learning, relearning and unlearning is far, far more important things. And that's a journey. So I would say you can always give an example of the allied industries about the competition. And one of the things can be done easily is like, how much is the R&D budget of your competition? How much is the learning budget of your competition? As you rightly mentioned, these are the intangible things. You may not get a tangible impact out of this, but believe me, this has a cascading impact. I'll give an example. I was looking at the one site called as Talent Code by David Cole. He has written the book Talent Code, and he was talking about a talent. He has given an example. There were two. This is the study done in one of the university. They made two group of people. So the first group, they said they gave certain problems to solve, and they said like, says for example, C.V. Raman, the great scientist, his birth and your birth is the same, and it is written on everybody's paper for one group. And for the other group, they did not mention anything, and they said this is the most difficult problem to solve, and you probably may not be able to solve. Now, what has happened? Just because people failed, my birth of date is matching with C.V. Raman's date of birth, meaning I do have ability to resolve the problem, and they resolve the problem faster than the group to whom they told like you can't do this. Just one thought, if we put into the mind of the people, then that makes that person dysfunctional. And that is where the feeling, thinking, behavior, action, and result, that's the hierarchy. The result is the tip of the iceberg. You just see the result, but you don't see the behavior underneath. The behavior is the outcome of the actions taken by the people. I would say the thinking, the way the person has thought, and that is the outcome of the feeling. So if you take care of feeling, that will drive right thought process, that will drive right behavior, that will enable right action, and that will give the right result. So that hierarchy needs to be prepared very well. And that is the only thing I think we can do, is that we give them the compelling reason, is like how a substandard performance is actually making more damage than the strategy, structure, and system. So if there's one component which is dynamic component in order to achieve success in the today's competitive landscape, I think that is the competence. And that is why we call talent. If you look at the HR, it is called as personnel management. Then it become HRM, human resource management. Then it become HRD, the human resource development. And now probably it is called as talent management. So no more we're talking about the employee, I would say worker, we're talking about talent. And talent is a commodity nowadays. It has only improved and improved. So to compel your organization, I think you can give the compelling study out of that, what your competitors do, and why it is impacting your current business trend. Or even if today you are good, but you have to work for the future, and how your investment will create synergy, that particular case study has to be prepared, and relentlessly. You may not get success once, but relentlessly you have to keep convincing, keep convincing, keep convincing.
Okay, thanks.
Great.
काफी अच्छा एक्सप्लेनेशन कबीर सर आपने यहाँ पे दिया है इस सवाल का। कबीर सर के लिए कोई और सवाल है किसी का? ओके, कबीर सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच कि आप फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज एंड प्रोफेशनल्स के डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म पे आए और अपने ये पीपल मैनेजमेंट का सब्जेक्ट यहाँ पे काफी अच्छी तरह से एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश की। और यस, इट वाज अ एक्सीलेंट प्रेजेंटेशंस। आपने काफी अच्छी तरह से इसको यहाँ पे समझाने की कोशिश की है। और मैं भी बहुत बार जब लोगों के साथ बात करता हूँ तो ये मेरा बहुत प्यार का सब्जेक्ट है, पीपल मैनेजमेंट। मेरा ये मानना है कि कोई भी इंडस्ट्री में आप जाओ या कोई भी बिजनेस में जाओ, वो छोटा हो या बड़ा हो, तो वहां पे पीपल मैनेजमेंट ये एक सक्सेस की है। अगर आपको सक्सेस बनना है तो सबसे पहले आपको पीपल्स के ऊपर काम करना जरूरी है। अभी अगर हम लोग इन शॉर्ट में देखेंगे तो कोई भी बिजनेस जब चालू होता है तो उसका जो जर्नी होता है ना, वो जर्नी फाइनली ग्रोथ के लिए काम करता है। और जब ग्रोथ के लिए काम करता है तो उसका जो रिजल्ट है, जो आउटपुट है, वो है मनी मेकिंग, वो है अपना प्रोडक्ट बेचना, अपना सर्विसेज बेचना। और आपको सेल्स को सक्सेसफुली अगर बनाना है तो जो भी कंपनी की जो टीम है, वो टीम के ऊपर आपका सेल्स पूरा का पूरा डिपेंड करता है। और वो सेल्स का टीम सेल्स बढ़ाना है, उसको ग्रो करना है, उसको सस्टेन करना है, तो अपने पास जो भी मैन पावर है वो मैन पावर इंपॉर्टेंट है। अभी मैन पावर हम लोग किसको बोल सकते हैं? तो एक जो कंपनी में मैन पावर है उसको बोल सकते हैं, दूसरा जो वेंडर है उसको बोल सकते हैं, और तीसरा है कस्टमर। ये तीनों का बॉन्डिंग अगर सही तरह से बनता है तो आपका सेल्स काफी अच्छी तरह से बनता है। मैं थोड़ा सा सेल्स का बंदा हूं, इसलिए 2 लाइन में सेल्स के ऊपर बात की। लेकिन ये पीपल मैनेजमेंट जो है वो अगर आपके कंपनी में से निकल जाता है तो अपना कंपनी जो है एक बड़ा जीरो बनता है। इसलिए ये पीपल मैनेजमेंट सबसे सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है आपके बिजनेस में या आपके लाइफ में भी। अगर आपके लाइफ को भी सक्सेस की ओर लेके जाना है तो वहां पे भी पीपल मैनेजमेंट काफी इंपॉर्टेंट होता है। सो कबीर जी, मैं आपका बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि आप ये प्लेटफॉर्म पे आए। और यस, मैं यहाँ पे जितने भी ऑडियंस है सबको अपील करना चाहूंगा कि फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज एंड प्रोफेशनल्स ये एक इंडस्ट्रियल पीपल्स के लिए एक अच्छा काम करने की कोशिश कर रहा है। इसके साथ साथ में सोशल का एक कॉज लेके भी यहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं। तो अभी 15 अगस्त को हम लोगों ने नव ऊर्जा का एक प्रोग्राम लॉन्च किया हुआ है, और ये नव ऊर्जा के प्रोग्राम में हम लोग हेल्थ, सोशल लाइफ के ऊपर और एनवायरमेंटल बैलेंस के ऊपर कुछ अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स लेते हैं। सो मैं सारे ऑडियंस को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि एवरी 2nd and 4th सैटरडे को इवनिंग 7 बजे हम लोग नव ऊर्जा का प्रोग्राम लेते हैं, और 1st, 3rd और 5th सैटरडे को हम लोग इंडस्ट्रियल अवेयरनेस का प्रोग्राम्स लेते हैं, जो इंडस्ट्री इनसाइट्स नाम से अभी हम लोगों ने चालू किया है। इससे पहले भी ऑलमोस्ट 46 अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स हम लोगों ने लास्ट ईयर में लिए थे, और इस 15 अगस्त से नेक्स्ट 15 अगस्त तक का हम लोगों ने 28 प्रोग्राम का प्लान किया है इंडस्ट्री इनसाइट्स में। सो आप सब ऑडियंस का मैं यहाँ पे धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा कि आप सब लोगों ने ये सेशन काफी अच्छी तरह से एंजॉय किया रहेगा। और कबीर सर, मेरा आपको एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगा कि आप भी FIIP के साथ इसी तरह से जुड़े रहिए, ताकि आपके पास जो एक्सपर्टीज है, जो नॉलेज है, वो जो इंडस्ट्री में छोटे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट आ रहे हैं, जो स्टार्टअप्स आ रहे हैं, उनको उसका बेनिफिट्स हो सकता है। यस, इसके साथ साथ में कॉर्पोरेट पीपल्स को भी बेनिफिट होगा। सो मैं आपका और सारे ऑडियंस का यहाँ पे धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ। प्रसाद सर, आप कुछ कहना चाहते हैं?
नमस्ते सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। ये सेशन आपने दोबारा से स्टार्ट कर दिया, एंड वी आर रियली ईगर टू हियर वंडरफुल थिंग्स फ्रॉम यू। जाते जाते एक मेरा छोटा सा सवाल था कातराबाद सर के लिए, क्योंकि उनका काफी बड़ा अनुभव है पीपल डेवलपमेंट में। तो कातराबाद सर, क्या आप मुझे सुन रहे हैं?
हाँ जी, प्लीज प्रसाद जी।
सर पीपल डेवलपमेंट के बारे में जो एक बात जो होती है हमेशा कि इंडस्ट्री में जो लोग आते रहते हैं, हमेशा नए नए लोग जुड़ते जाते हैं, तो उनके लिए एक जर्नी साइकिल जो है ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि आज जो नया जो व्यक्ति जो ज्वाइन हुआ है, तो उसका करियर जो पाथ है, क्या उसको हम कैसे डिफाइन कर सकते हैं, उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा कुछ कैन यू गाइड अस ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर एरिया वेयर पीपल ज्वाइन इन, एंड इफ वी डिसाइड द करियर पाथ, सो हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू बी बेनिफिशियल टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन?
या थैंक यू सावले, बहुत ही बढ़िया सवाल है। एंड जैसे नीलेश भी पूछ रहे थे कि क्या हमारा स्ट्रेटेजी रहेगा कि एक 7 to 12K का बीच में अगर एक ये कंपनी रहेगा, तो उसके लिए भी ये सही मतलब कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री सवाल है। देखिए, हर एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में डेफिनेटली डिफरेंट वेरियस रोल्स है, हायरार्की होता ही होता है, ठीक है। अगर छोटा भी हो बड़ा हो, उसके हिसाब से अलग अलग हायरार्की है, एंड हर एक का रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज डिफाइंड है। अगर हमें ये जो आपका जो सवाल है ये बहुत ही रेलेवेंट है फॉर मैन पावर रिटेंशन के लिए भी, एक सवाल ये लागू होता है, क्योंकि मैन पावर रिटेंशन, ग्रूमिंग, डेवलपिंग प्लस रिटेनिंग देम इज मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट। जैसे कबीर सर ने कुछ चीजें बहुत ही अच्छी तरह ग्राफिकल प्रेजेंटेशन में उन्होंने बताया कि पहले एम्प्लॉयज क्या देखा करते थे, अभी क्या देख रहे हैं। कंपनी भी पहले उनके तरफ क्या एक्सपेक्ट करता था और अभी क्या उनको देना चाहिए, तो हमने बहुत ही अच्छी तरह देखा है। इसलिए उनका एक कैरियर जो पाथ है वो डिफाइन करना बहुत जरूरी है, एंड ये उनको परकोलेट करना भी बहुत जरूरी है। एंड डिफरेंटली यू गॉट वेरी मेनी फंक्शन, जैसा हमने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर में देखा था कि एवरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैज गॉट वेरी मेनी फंक्शंस, एंड विद इन द फंक्शन there are sub functions, and then there are different roles and responsibilities. According to their roles and responsibilities, there is a position for them. तो हमें उनको फुल्ली ग्रूम करना पड़ेगा, इनपुट देना पड़ेगा, हर एक का रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के हिसाब से ट्रेनिंग नीड आइडेंटिफाई करके उनको, अगर कॉम्पिटेंसी कैपेबिलिटी आप उनको बिल्ड करते हैं तो वो परफॉर्म करेंगे। ऑफ कोर्स जैसा एचआर का भी इसमें एक रोल होता है कि उनको रिटेन करने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए। एक है जो फंक्शनल डिपार्टमेंट है, दूसरा एचआर है, इन दोनों का वहां पे सिनर्जी होना चाहिए इनका कैरियर पाथ बनाने के लिए। तो डेफिनेटली फंक्शन का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, वो फंक्शनल रोल्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी रिलेटेड उनको कैपेबिलिटी बिल्ड करना होता है। एचआर का जो है जनरल जो मैनेजरियल या लीडरशिप, जैसे कबीर सर अभी पीपल मैनेजमेंट के बारे में बात करते करके काफी उन्होंने उसमें दिखाया है कि इन एंटायरिटी मैन पावर को हम कैसे डेवलप कर सकते हैं इन अदर एस्पेक्ट्स आल्सो। तो ये दोनों सिनर्जी में काम करके अगर उसका कैरियर पाथ डिफाइन करके उनको ये क्लैरिटी भी रहना चाहिए कि मेरा नेक्स्ट लेवल क्या हो सकता है, लेवल क्या, क्योंकि हर एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से डिफरेंट लेवल्स भी होते हैं। उनके एक्सपीरियंस के हिसाब से नंबर ऑफ इयर्स कंप्लीटेड, then his performance, then there are so many ways, somebody will put some rewards if somebody accelerated उनका एलिवेशन करते हैं। ये सारी चीजें करके हम डेफिनेटली उनका कैरियर पार्ट डिफाइन करके उनको परकोलेट करके डेवलप करके हम मैन पावर को रिटेन भी कर सकते हैं, प्लस उनका प्रोग्रेसिव पाथ भी डिफाइन कर सकते हैं। आई होप आई हैव आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चन।
हाँ, इसी से एक मीन्स कनेक्टेड सवाल ये है कि जो एम्प्लॉय आज जो आपके पास में ज्वाइन हुआ, कुछ साल के बाद में ही गेन्स दैट एक्सपीरियंस, वो स्किल सेट डेवलप करता है, फिर उसको एक एसेट के वो तरीका मीन्स एसेट के रूप में उसको देखना चाहिए, नॉट एज एन लायबिलिटी, एंड उसका आगे यूटिलाइजेशन अच्छी तरीके से होना चाहिए, उसके स्किल्स भी एनहांस होने चाहिए। हर बार हम जाकर के नए आदमी को लेकर के आएंगे, उसी को ट्रेन करेंगे, तो जो रिटेंशन वाला जो प्लान है हमारा लॉन्ग टर्म में देखा जाएगा, तो ये स्टार्टअप्स के लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि उनको अच्छी तरीके से डेवलप करो, दे बिकम योर एसेट, योर एम्बेसडर्स, एंड फर्दर मोर आप जो नए लोग लेके आएंगे उनको भी उसी प्रकार से ट्रेनिंग करिए। करियर पाथ अगर उनकी डिफाइन करते हैं तो दीज पीपल आर गोइंग टू बी दी एसेट्स। So,
Absolutely. When I say you have to reward them and show them the next elevation positions and all, so definitely the organization has to look into asset point of view. You are absolutely right, right?
तो इसके लिए
I-
कुछ डिजिटल टूल्स वगैरह कबीर जी कुछ आप सजेस्ट करेंगे कि ये इनको अगर हम लूप में रखना चाहेंगे तो हाउ डिजिटल टूल्स आर गोइंग टू हेल्प अस इन दिस मैटर?
See, I think if you look at the digital tools, for that matter, at company like us, we do have HR link program with us, wherein we get to know what different tools are available. Now, I don't know the small organizations, what is the investment they can do. But I think even if you do have an Excel sheet, for me, career pathing is, I look at it differently. For that matter, maybe the first one suggestion I would give it to since this is the forum, and this is the holistic and I would say forward-looking forum, I would request to not to use the word manpower, because if there is a one female here in the program, she will feel bad about it, right?
Okay,
so
correct.
let us use the word called as workforce.
Workforce.
So
Workforce. Absolutely.
more I would say inclusive word. So we have to be diverse. We have to be DEI is a new initiative run by many companies, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion. So you have to be diverse. We should not be saying any word which will be, I would say, lopsided into one direction, either the gender or race or the creed or the religion. So we are a very inclusive country, right? So diversified country. So I'm sorry if I'm giving suggestion, but I hope you will take it in a right spirit.
Absolutely.
So first we have to use the word called as workforce. I think the career pathing, something I look at is like career streams. There are different career streams. For example, HR, marketing, finance, these are career streams. And career levels can be, for example, an engineer, senior engineer, assistant manager, manager, senior manager, AGM, DGM, GM. Now, if you look at the Indian companies, they are having very, very wide structure. Whereas the, I would say global companies, multinational companies, they are very flat culture. There are only 4 levels, maybe like so A, B, C, D bands, and that's it. Now, why Indian companies have many more layers? Because maybe person does the same thing what he or she has been doing for last 3 years, but just because he or she completed 3 years, we call senior manager. So let us not define a title progression or career progression, where we very well, I would say, define about it. Am I just doing title progression or am I doing career progression? When I say career progression, does job description changes? And that is where I think some of them, they do operational thing. Some of them, they do tactical thing. Some of them do strategic thing. And some of them do visionary thing. So I need to plot them. What are the basic things? Execution, delivery, tactical, strategic, and visionary. And then I need to look at job description. If someone is contributing at tactical level, from there on, the person moved on and doing little more strategic thing, meaning commercial thing, techno-commercial thing, people management aspect, then accordingly we need to define job description. So I would say, before even thinking about career pathing, if at all you have to work on to job description for all the positions need to be documented. We need to have the goals defined for the person.
Perfect.
We are handing over those goals to person. And then we differentiate between different positions in a company. Now I understand from where you are coming, maybe in engineering education, especially it is happening now. If at all someone has been senior in the job and if institution has to pay more salary, then they prefer to let go that person and get the new MTech and ME person so that they have to pay less. But that is where I think the differentiation between industry and institute happens. In the institution and industry, in the industry, I think the older you are like a wine, the more beneficial you should be for the company, right? And that is why the companies whose basic philosophies and principles are ethical and value-based, they will always value experience. The glory of the young person is a strength, whereas the glory of the old is experience.
Perfect.
So I would rather suggest a basic thing should be starting from job description. From there on, I should be clearly demarcating the person, not to fulfill the ego of the person I am giving title. Person should create value for the organization. Then only the person should get the career progression.
Very nicely explained, Kabir ji.
Thank you, sir.
Now I'm asking to Mr. Dr. Popatra Moite for the takeaway and vote of thanks for this session.
थैंक यू। मैं आभारी हूँ नवना जी आपका आज का जो सेशन हमारे कबीर सर ने जो प्रेजेंट किया है, टेक अवेज अभी हमारे बहुत कुछ है, लेकिन जो चंद हमें समझना चाहिए वो ये है, इंसान को इंसानियत के नाते देखना है तो खुद इंसान बनना सीखो। ये बात उन्होंने कही है अपने फंडामेंटल्स में, कि जहां उसे हम रिसोर्स के हिसाब से देख रहे हैं लेकिन वैल्यू के हिसाब से देखो, ये बात उन्होंने कही है। तो दोस्तों, आज जो हम उद्योजक हैं, अलग अलग कंपनियों में कोई काम करने वाले हमारे दोस्त यहाँ हैं, कोई बिजनेसमैन है, कोई एचआर में है, तो कहना यही है कि अभी वैल्यू बेस्ड जो है हमारा, वो कल्चरल एस्पेक्ट है हमारा, उसकी तरफ देखने के लिए उन्होंने कहा कि हम कौन सा भी अगर उद्योग निर्माण करते हैं तो कल्चर का सेटअप होना चाहिए। जो माइंडसेट है, जो उद्यमी अगर उसका सही ढंग से उसके उद्योग का विकास करना चाहता है तो उसे फंडामेंटल उसका कल्चर क्या है उस पर निर्भर होता है। ढेर सारी बातें आप लोगों ने कही है, लेकिन उनका टेक अवे जो ये है कि अपना नजरिया बदलो, और आपका नजरिया बदलते समय कभी भी वो जो भी इंसान आपके साथ काम कर रहा है उसको मशीन जैसा, उसको टूल जैसा मत समझो, क्योंकि उसके इमोशंस है, उसके फीलिंग्स हैं, उसके टेक अवे जो है कि वो अगर घर जाता है शाम को तो उसको एक चैन की नींद आनी चाहिए कि मैं सही कंपनी में काम कर रहा हूँ। ये जो रिस्पेक्ट और वैल्यू क्रिएट करने की बात कबीर जी ने कही है, सही मायने में दोस्तों अभी पूरा का पूरा परसेप्शन बदल रहा है। हमारा परसेप्शन बदलने की कोशिश हम छोटे उद्योगों ने भी की जानी चाहिए, क्योंकि छोटे उद्योग हमेशा, अगर आपको रिक्रूटमेंट करना है तो आप क्या देखते हैं, 7,000 में आ रहे हैं, 8,000 में आ रहे हैं, 10,000 में आ रहे हैं। What you are looking, rightly he pointed out, talent. So what we are looking, manpower, that is not what he say, he workforce. So workforce, whatever you are going to have, but the workforce should be talented one. So हम जो भी उद्योगी यहाँ हैं, हम किसको देख रहे हैं, हम वो जितना भी कोई आ रहा है उसको हम टाइम एडजस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं, फिलिंग गैप कर रहे हैं। अगर इसी बात से हम अगर छोटे उद्योग का काम करेंगे तो हमारा विकास नहीं होगा। यही टेक अवेज है आज के सारे इस सार के, और मैं शुक्रगुजार हूँ हमारे कबीर जी का। मैं उनका आभार तो नहीं मानूंगा, मैं हक से उनको फिर से कभी दोहराऊंगा कि आने के लिए तो जरूर आएंगे। और नवनाथ जी वो हमेशा अपने लिए, अपने प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए एडवाइजरी की एक्टिविटी में कभी भी आएंगे। लेकिन मैं कहूँगा सारे हमारे दोस्तों को कि मैं आप लोगों का आभारी हूँ, आप यहाँ आए हैं और हमारे कबीर जी को आपने सुना है, उनकी डाइवर्सिफिकेशन थॉट को सुना है, और मुझे ये लगता है कि कुछ ना कुछ आपके विचारों में वैल्यू एडेड हुआ है। क्योंकि जब कोई अपना इतना कीमती वक्त देके उस पर प्रिपरेशन करके, उनका अनुभव 21+ का है, जब वो देते हैं तो उसके लिए हम बाकायदा उसका उपयोग करना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं बोलूंगा कि टेक अवेज वो होंगे नवनाथ जी, अगर ये लोग बाद में हमें बोलेंगे, कमेंट्स भेजेंगे कि इस सेशन का हमें ये फायदा हुआ है, वही हमारे टेकर्स रहेंगे, ये मुझे कहना जरूरी है। और हिंदी में मैंने दरअसल ऐसी बात की है क्योंकि ये हमारा फोरम हिंदी और अंग्रेजी में चलता है। सो आई एम वेरी फॉर्चुनेट एंड ऑल टुगेदर दैट ही इज माय बेसिकली मेंटी, एंड आई एम प्राउड दैट दिस इज द टैलेंट विच इज रियली वर्किंग फॉर द कंट्री डेवलपमेंट, आत्मनिर्भर भारत की ओर बनाने के लिए वो बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। सो मैं सबका आभारी तो हूँ ही, लेकिन कबीर जी आपका बहुत आभारी हूँ कि आपको मैंने बहुत शॉर्ट नोटिस में आपको बोला था और आपने वो कोई भी पल ना ही नहीं बोला, क्योंकि मुझे विश्वास था कि आपके पास जो टैलेंट है वो सब लोगों के लिए जरूरी है। और मुझे विश्वास है कि आपका जो करियर अभी है वो और भी आगे और भी लोगों को मार्गदर्शन करने के लिए रहेगा। सो आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू वन एंड ऑल। थैंक यू वेरी मच and nice session all together you have conducted. Thank you very much. Over to Navnath ji.
Thank you मोहिते सर। So आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट है कबीर गायकवाड़ सर, मैं आपका भी वापस से धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ कि आप आपका कीमती समय निकाल के यहाँ पे आए और आपने जो आपके पास जो ज्ञान है वो हम सब लोगों के साथ शेयर किया। डेफिनेटली उसका बेनिफिट हम सब लोगों को होगा। आपके साथ साथ जितने भी ऑडियंस ने यहाँ पे आज कनेक्ट किया है या इसके बाद भी ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू जितने भी ऑडियंस आपको सुनेंगे, वो सब लोगों को मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा। और ये यहाँ पे अपील करना चाहूँगा कि ये जो इंडस्ट्री इनसाइट्स का जो हम लोगों ने सेशन स्टार्ट किया है, इसका बेनिफिट आप ऑलवेज ले लीजिए, क्योंकि हर वीक आपको एक नए स्पीकर को सुनने को मिलेगा, नया ज्ञान मिलेगा, और इसका यूटिलाइजेशन आप आपके पर्सनल लाइफ में, आपके प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में आप यूटिलाइज कीजिए। इसका बेनिफिट आपको श्योर होगा। ग्रोथ, प्रोग्रेस एंड सक्सेस, ये लाइन के ऊपर हम लोगों को चलने के लिए, अपना जर्नी कंप्लीट करने के लिए इसका हेल्प होगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर एवरीवन।
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.